I'm Chelsea. A few weeks ago, my father, who had been battling an illness, passed away. I often find myself wishing I could have shown him his grandchildren. It's a regret that lingers. I got married when I was 25, exactly 5 years ago. At my wedding, my father and I made a promise. I'll let you know first when I get pregnant. But I never got the chance to fulfill that promise. It's the only regret I have regarding my father. Since his illness was discovered a year ago, I did everything I could for him. I regularly returned to my parents' home, visited the hospital with my mother, and made frequent phone calls and video chats. I tried to be there for him as much as possible. Yet, I still wonder, could I have done more? I whispered. My mother, sitting beside me, gently reassured me. You did well, Chelsea. Do you really think so? Yes, your father would be satisfied. Just then, my sister, Portia, returned with the lawyer. She entered the living room and announced, "The lawyer is here." A man in his mid-40s followed her in. I assumed he was the lawyer and accepted his business card. "I'm Samuel, the attorney. Thank you for coming. Please have a seat." "Thank you," he replied, taking a seat. As soon as he sat down, Portia blurted out, "I heard from this lawyer that Dad left quite an inheritance." "It's not all for you, Portia," I responded. "I know that," she snapped, glaring at me. I glittered back. "My sister and I have never been close, but things worsened when we found out about Dad's illness." Her arrogant attitude strained our relationship even further. No matter how many times I reached out, she never visited our father. Maybe it was too harsh in my attempts to get her to come, but her indifference only made things worse. "You're not a child, you don't have to be so stubborn," I once told her. She retorted, "I'm not being stubborn. I live in the city. It's not easy to come to the countryside. But it's only a 2-hour drive. Those 2 hours are tough. It costs money. So money's more important to you than seeing Dad?" "Of course it is. I'm busy, so stop contacting me." And that was the last time she spoke to me about it. Even though she lived far away, she could have visited once in a while. That's why our relationship deteriorated so quickly. In the end, my sister never visited our father, and our relationship remained strained. Sensing the tension, the lawyer intervened. "Let's calm down, please." "Okay, sorry, I apologize." The lawyer nodded and continued. "As I mentioned on the phone, I have your father's will." "When did this happen?" my mother murmured. "A few weeks before he passed away, he contacted me." "So you went to the hospital?" "Yes, I had him write the will in front of me with his primary physician present. They had arranged for the doctor to contact the lawyer when my father passed away, so after his death, the lawyer reached out to us. That's how it happened and why we're here now," the lawyer explained, pulling out a white envelope. He placed it in front of us. "This is the will." "That's definitely Dad's handwriting," I muttered, verifying the writing on the envelope. Portia seemed impatient. "Never mind, just tell us what's in it. I'm busy, you know." "Very well," the lawyer said with a wry smile, opening the envelope. Inside was a single piece of paper. It stated that besides the house and land, my father's inheritance included some savings and a storage shed. We knew about the house and land, but what's this about a storage shed? I wondered aloud. My sister angrily interrupted. "Wait a minute, what about the farm?" "The farm?" "Yes, the farm Dad used to work on as a hobby. My father had run a company in the next town, but after turning 50, he decided to close it down and take it easy. My sister, who was in college at the time, opposed the idea, but my mother and I, concerned about his health, agreed." "Don't worry about the money, Portia. We have enough savings," my father reassured her. Reluctantly, she agreed. After that, my father closed his company and started farming near our home. "It feels good to move my body while farming," he used to say, looking content. Seeing him like that made me glad I had supported his decision. But my sister didn't share the sentiment. She had planned to return home after graduating from college, but instead, she got a job near her university and eventually married the CEO of an IT company she met through work. Anyway, my sister was adamant that the farm should also be part of the inheritance. The lawyer reviewed the documents after hearing this from my sister. He quickly found a note and said, "The farm is rented land." "Rented? I thought we owned a large piece of land," my sister said, clearly disappointed. Indeed, the farm where my father grew vegetables was spacious, but it might be too much for us, who know nothing about farming. Maybe it's a good thing it's rented, I thought. The conversation then shifted to dividing the inheritance. As for the division of the inheritance, the house and land go to your mother, the lawyer said. My sister grinned. So we can divide the rest however we want? Please divide the savings and storage shed equally between you two. Savings means cash, right? I'll take the cash. How much is it? The savings amount to about $100,000. There's no need to pay inheritance tax on this amount. Then I'll take the $100,000 in cash, my sister declared triumphantly. But I couldn't agree with such a selfish arrangement. I strongly protested against my sister. Wait a minute, I object. Why? I'm the eldest. That doesn't matter. You can have the storage shed. What? Even that? What even is that anyway? My sister turned back to the lawyer, flipping through the documents. The lawyer answered, It's the storage shed next to the farm. You'll inherit the building, the land, and its contents. With land? My sister's eyes lit up. Even though she's married to the CEO of an IT company, does she still want more money? I wondered. The lawyer continued, The land comes with it, but it's only about 65 square feet, roughly the size of a small bedroom. A small bedroom. Yes, here are the photos. The lawyer placed photos of the shed on the table. Pictures of both the interior and exterior were displayed. The exterior clearly looked like a rundown shack. The inside contained only basic tools like hoses, scissors, and shovels, nothing that seemed valuable. I don't want it, my sister grimaced. I glanced at the photos too. It was all very ordinary. These are sentimental items, but they won't bring in any money. As I was thinking this, my sister spoke up. Fine, I'll take the cash. You can have that dirty shed. Hold on, that's not fair. You agreed to the vegetable farming. What are you complaining about now? It was hard to argue when she put it that way. Still, if I didn't say something, she'd take all of Dad's inheritance. So we're good then? My sister pressed me. As I struggled to answer, my mother chimed in. As long as Portia won't complain later, I have no objections. There's no way I would. Then Portia gets the cash and Chelsea gets the shed. Okay? Looks like it's settled then, my sister said with a smirk. Feeling uneasy, I immediately objected. No, I'm not okay with this. Oh, just drop it, she snapped back. But you're being so greedy, I retorted. That's not it. You're such a hassle. You care more about Dad than the money, right? Her words caught me off guard, leaving me speechless. Of course, family meant more than money to me. While money is important, it doesn't compare to family. As I mulled over this, my sister quickly ended the conversation. In the end, our mother got the house and land, my sister got Dad's savings, and all that was left for me was the old, dirty shed. Afterward, my sister signed a document agreeing not to dispute the inheritance division. She laughed loudly while I felt full of complaints. I couldn't help but vent to her mother. Mom, why didn't you help me? I did help you. How? You sided with Portia. That's not true. I made sure you got the shed. Huh? I'm not happy about getting that shed. You might find something surprisingly good if you look closely, she said with a smile. I could only puff out my cheeks in frustration. The next day, I took the key from the lawyer and headed to the shed near the field. It was a 10-minute walk from home, along a quiet rural road. When I reached the field that my father had rented, I found it overgrown and neglected since he had been hospitalized for the past year. I unlocked the shed and opened the door. Wow, it's dusty. The place was covered in dust, a clear sign that no one had cleaned it in ages. Still, there might be something sentimental from Dad here. With that thought, I looked around the shed, but it was just a dirty old place filled with farming tools. They were nostalgic, but nothing special. Maybe I should just take what's inside for now, I muttered as I surveyed the shed. That's when I noticed something strange. It seems smaller inside than it looks from the outside. Maybe it was the dim light, but the interior felt cramped. Is it just my imagination? I wondered. I stepped outside again, but something still felt off. After thinking about it, I decided to walk around to the back of the shed, where I discovered a surprise. Another door. Wait, there's a back entrance, I gasped. From inside, it had seemed like there was only one entrance, yet here was a hidden door at the back. What was going on? There had to be a hidden space between the walls. Realizing this, I felt a surge of excitement. Dad always loved surprises, and this was just his style. I quickly returned inside the shed and began searching for a key to the back door. If this was Dad's doing, he would have hidden it somewhere clever. With that thought, I rummaged through the shed and eventually found 2 keys hidden inside the handle of a shovel. I rushed around to the back and tried one of the keys in the door. With a click, it opened. What could be in here? The space was indeed small, just about 3 feet wide. Inside stood a large safe, one I recognized from Dad's office when I was a child. Hugging the safe, I felt a wave of nostalgia and fulfillment wash over me. This alone made the inheritance worthwhile. But knowing Dad, this couldn't be the end. There's got to be more, I muttered as I inserted the second key into the safe. With a slightly rusty creak, it opened. What? No way. I was stunned by what I saw inside. The inheritance was far beyond my expectations. What should I do? I need to tell Mom. I locked the safe and hurried home. After explaining the situation to my mother, I called my husband for help, and we moved the safe to our place. As we did, it hit me. The contents were undoubtedly valuable, and I realized I might need to check if inheritance tax applied. After consulting with a lawyer, I was advised to get a certified public accountant involved. A friend referred me to one, and I left the complex matters in their hands. Half a year passed, and just as I thought everything had settled down, my sister showed up near my home. What brings you here all of a sudden? I asked. I had some business at Mom's house. So you stopped by? Yeah, something like that. Her behavior was strange, no matter how I looked at it. Even though my home was close to her parents, it was still a 20-minute drive. We weren't the type of sisters who casually visited each other, especially after the tension surrounding Dad's inheritance. I couldn't shake my suspicion as I watched her fidget. Can I come in? She asked nervously. Sure, but what's going on? I have something to talk about, she said, forcing a smile. Reluctantly, I let her in. After I served some coffee, she started to fidget again before finally blurting out. Did you win the lottery or something? What? No, I didn't. Then did your husband get a big bonus? I tilted my head, puzzled. I never bought lottery tickets, and it wasn't the time of year for my husband's holiday bonus. What on earth was she talking about? Confused, I asked directly, Hey, what are you talking about? Suddenly, she snapped, What, are you making fun of me? No, what are you talking about? Money, you've got it, don't you? I heard about it, she said excitedly. She began to recount a story from a few days ago. While in the city, she had run into her aunt, who started the conversation with, I know it's been hard since you lost your father. Are you doing okay? Yes, I visited him many times while he was sick, my sister had replied. Thank you, but you must be relieved now, right? After getting that big thank you gift. Thank you gift? Yes, your sister sent me a $500 gift card for visiting him. A gift card? Needless to say, the mention of a gift card piqued my sister's curiosity. Hearing that I had sent it, she became convinced that I had come into some money. You got a windfall, didn't you? Just admit it, she demanded. Ah, that's what this is about, I sighed. My sister didn't like my response and yelled, What's with that attitude? Are you mocking me? No, it was just a thank you gift. So where did you get the money for it? That's what I want to know. From the inheritance, remember? Inheritance. But all you got was that dirty shed. Yes, that's true. But you can't sell that for money. But there was a safe inside. That's where the real inheritance was. A safe? Real inheritance. I carefully explained about the watches inside the safe. They were valuable pieces my father had collected as a hobby during his lifetime. Although I didn't know their exact worth, I suspected that Dad had invested a significant amount in them. If they're valuable, you'll have to pay inheritance tax, my mother had said after seeing the contents of the safe. What should I do, Mom? I asked, feeling overwhelmed. She paused, considering my question, then advised, when it comes to things like this, honesty is the best policy. You should declare everything properly. How should I go about that? I wondered. We should consult the lawyer again, my mother suggested. I took her advice and revisited the lawyer. He explained that the inheritance tax is based on the value of the valuables at the time of inheritance. Inheritance. He also recommended consulting a certified public accountant to handle the details. Following his advice, I engaged an accountant who appraised the watches in the safe and determined their value to be at least $500,000. You'll definitely need to pay inheritance tax on those watches, the lawyer confirmed. How should I handle the payment? I asked. Perhaps you could keep the ones that hold sentimental value and sell the rest, he suggested. Since I wasn't knowledgeable about the true value of the watches, it made sense to sell some of them. I sold a few, used the proceeds to pay the inheritance tax, and sent thank you gifts to the relatives who had supported us. Those gifts were the gift cards my sister had mentioned. I kept the items with the most sentimental value, like the pocket watch my father often wore. I showed it to my sister as I recounted this. This one may not be expensive, but it holds the most memories for me, I said. My sister's reaction was less than favorable. What? You don't have any left? No, there are still some in the safe. Where's the safe? It's at Mom's. The safe is too large for my house. It's the same one Dad used at his company. My sister said, looking away with a thoughtful expression. Her reaction made me uneasy, but she abruptly stood up and said, I'm leaving now that I know where the money came from, and left. Given my sister's obsession with money, I was relieved she didn't press further. Yet a sense of unease lingered, and I was reminded of it late that night when my mother called urgently. Chelsea, it's an emergency. You need to come over right away. What happened, Mom? I asked, alarmed. It's bad. I'm not sure what to do, she replied, frantic. My husband and I rushed to my parents' house, only to find the area illuminated by red lights from police cars. What's going on? I asked as we approached. It became clear when we saw several police cars parked outside. I pushed through the crowd to find my mother. What happened, Mom? Well, Chelsea, it's a mess, she began. According to my mother, she had gone to bed early after a long day. Around 9 p.m., she heard noises that sounded like someone searching through the house. Could it be a burglar, she wondered. Alone in the house, she decided to escape through the window, noticing a flashlight moving inside as she fled. Thinking it was a burglar, she ran to a neighbor's house and asked for help. The neighbor saw the flashlight too and called the police. However, it wasn't a burglar. It was my sister, who had broken into the house to search through the safe after hearing about its contents. My mother and the neighbor had no way of knowing this. When the police arrived, my sister, caught in her own panic, tried to flee. In her haste, she bumped into the open safe, which toppled over and landed on her. So, Portia ended up trapped under the safe? I asked. Yes, that's right, my mother confirmed. Is she okay? I inquired, concerned. She was taken to the hospital. She keeps complaining about her leg hurting. What on earth was she thinking? I was baffled. After apologizing to the police for the late-night call, I phoned my sister's husband. Wait, you're saying Portia broke into her own family home and got injured? Yes. What is she doing? She doesn't even do housework. I'm really sorry about my sister. That's it, I'm filing for divorce. Divorce? I was taken aback. Apparently, my sister had accumulated significant debt from spending on luxury items. Her husband had just discovered this and had a huge argument with her. She had stormed out, intending to borrow money from our mother. After spending her inheritance to pay off some of her debts, she came to me for more. Her actions led to the chaos with the safe. In the end, my sister, with a fractured leg, was hospitalized. Her husband arrived at the hospital with divorce papers, and despite her protests, she had no choice but to sign. Now she lies in her hospital bed, stunned. A part-time job magazine beside her suggests she plans to work to repay her debts, which might provide some relief. As for me, I decided to move back to my parents' home despite the upheaval. With my mother's help, I plan to manage childcare and support during my pregnancy. Although I wished I could have shared the news with my father, I'm looking forward to the future and welcoming our baby.